Okay, so I'm just going to start with this for the next video, which probably won't be for a day or two, right? Because I have taken Mari to the children's hospital. Unless something dire is going on with his hips or whatever, then yeah, I'll probably do a video. But other than that, I was going to open up another playlist from 2010. Okay? But for whatever strange reason, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't start doing videos until September of 2010. But I don't know how that's possible, though, people. Because if you look here, I want to take it from the beginning of 2010. Because I moved in November of 2009. I didn't move in. I rented the house in November of 2009. And by December 15th, I had moved my family in. So I gave myself a couple of weeks to start bringing the wall units or whatever. Okay? So, if you notice here, in August of 2009, I did a Malcolm X chocolate milk, party, okay, at Gateway Place as a follow-up to the playground restoration with Home Depot, okay, prior to that, in 2009, or 2007, 2008, So anyway, let me see here. What happened? So, we did the chocolate Malcolm X party in 2009, in August, because I remember Riley coming to Manpreet's house, that fourplex, and loading up the canopies and the tables and the water coolers and whatever else I was going to take to this event. Because I'm the one that held the event. Okay, so I had to bring my own shit. Right? Now I have printouts way, way, way back before YouTube really started messing with my channel. Okay? Because I don't understand this. So we go from August, and it looks like that whatever I was doing in those days, Malcolm X chocolate milk party, playground restoration, this one was uploaded on August 15th of 2009. So I was uploading them back to back, or maybe my son was uploading them. Because I don't know how much I knew about the computer at that time. But I don't think Brooks was there. No. No. Or maybe he had the camera or something. I don't know. I have to think about it. Okay? All I know is it was done in August at some point. Right? You can see there's a lot of videos there. We're still, so they're being posted back to back. And then, of course, yeah, you see my son uploaded, Brooks, he uploaded these park videos when I used to do park videos. So, this is when Auntie Addie came. No, this is a different event. Yeah, it was the follow-up to the first Home Depot courtyard restoration. So we had the Home Depot come in, restore the playground with paint and flowers and blah, 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 blah. And then I came back with Riley in 2009 as I was living in that fourplex which I just talked about in my previous video, which is now converting and going to be uploaded after it's converting. Before I moved in here, I rented this place in November. I think it was November 20th or something like that. Take it as is. Take it now. Stay as long as you want. We'll never raise the rent. But you have to give us the rent now in order to keep the house once you walk away. So I gave them money. I said I'd take it, okay, because we came with money. Because you just don't know what kind of landlord you get. That's how Wally was. Take it now. I can't promise you it won't be here when you get back if you decide you want the house. So it's better for you to take it now. John and I, we took it. And Wally was the best landlord we ever had. Okay? All right. So I move in. I move the family in. The whole family on December 15th of 2009. So I guess I wasn't making videos. Because what happens... Because I really wasn't into YouTube yet, people. Right? Now, I don't know how these got uploaded because, you know, I had a camera for this. The police came for this. I bought a separate camera for $500 to let the kids run around or do whatever to record this. Or maybe it was my ex camera, which was the more expensive camera because it had higher resolution or whatever. Maybe I did upload these. I don't know. I'm really going to have to think about it because if you notice, August 15th, right, this is all to do to that one-day event. Okay? And then August 16th, so we got a whole bunch of August 15th of 2009. August 16th, a few of those, 2009. And then all of a sudden, people, all of a sudden, it jumps to September 9th of 2010. That's a whole year without doing videos. And I don't know about that, people. Honestly, I don't think so. Because if you look at this one, Yogi, this video belongs with these videos where it should say the same date, 2009, August 15th, 16th, whatever, all the way down. How is it that whoever posted all these videos within a very short few days because of the event, right? Which clearly happened in 2009, because I do remember Riley coming with his truck, picking up all my equipment that I used for park events back in those days from Manpreet's fourplex. Same day, same day, same day. Yogi was there on that day, same day, but for whatever strange reason, that video out of I don't know how many was posted on September 9th of 2010 versus August 16th of 2009. It doesn't add up, people. Something's missing. I don't know how, or I don't know what. Now, I do have printouts from way back in the day before my channel got literally stalked by YouTube staff and their partner groups. Okay? I'm just saying. Because that, I created this video at, unless of course, I don't know. So it was edited. Why would I edit a video? I wouldn't. Editor. With you, what is that? The point is, it's not adding up. This video with Yogi on the same day of all those other videos should have the same post date, right? But it doesn't. August 16, 2009, and then all of a sudden we lose a whole year. 13 months, right? And we jump to September 8th of 2010. Doesn't make sense. However, when I moved in, I didn't know what kind YouTube channel I should have been building outside of to keep with that community activism to improve the neighborhood. And being that I lived on a road where a little further down the road there was this empty property that had a lot of issues with homeless people, because back in 2010 the process of evicting out people from their houses was happening. So I wanted to be proactive and turn that property into a community, I don't want to say mini little park / garden, but that's what I wanted to do, right? Versus having a bunch of homeless people in there bringing in garbage, scattering it all over the place, and just, you know how that goes, right? And maybe work on some housing for the homeless people, or some local cleanup programs where people could make a little money cleaning up the garbage that was piling up on that property. To which now they're building huge complexes that most people can't afford within those stack and pack buildings. That's what that parking lot is related to down the street from me, right? Their workers are working on the property that I recorded in 2010. So this is probably right, but I feel like somebody fucked me over here with putting Yogi in 2010 when really he belongs there in August of 2009. Something went missing. I don't know what the hell happened here. It just doesn't make any sense. As if I'm going to post all that, or Brooks is going to post all that, and then come back in and post that a year, 13 months later. It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I think it was me who did that. Brooks did the previous park events and that kind of thing. He wasn't anywhere near around this, okay? And I've got people running around with the camera and then gave me back the camera, and I had to learn how to do it. But then, of course, I wasn't doing any much more because I was moving out of that fourplex, being fucking gang stalked with Bobby climbing the roof and running around on the roof when it wasn't the Hummer driving up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the crazy fucking heroin addicted electrician banging holes into drywall and leaving broken light bulbs around. Who would want to make videos around that? You know what I'm saying? So I move in here, you know, I have a foundation, you know, I got a little sense of something here, but this says September 11th of 2010. Well, yeah, that would be right, because I moved in here in November of 2009. 2009. So I guess by the time I decided to get out there and work on the foundation, right, I chose to start with this, with the Marax Speaks Green series, because I wanted to work on building in a, you know, on the nonprofit, right? To build up the community and bring in more community parks and just whatever. So I do remember these. Okay. I don't know why there's a big jump in terms of dates, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. So this is all down the road where a bunch of homeless people lived. Okay. Yeah, Baloo, squatter eviction. And then the city would come in and try and evict everybody out, but they'd move back in. 2 people actually got murdered in there. 1 or 2. And then they covered up the bodies as the homeless people were living in there, and they found them 2 fucking weeks later. And honestly, I think I heard the gunshot. Well, maybe it was just one dude. And then they just covered him up with bush and left him there. And I so wanted to call the police that night when I thought I heard gunshots, and I should have, honest to God, but I didn't, because I thought that if they were real gunshots, the people closer to the sounds would have called. And then 2 weeks later, I found out that somebody was murdered in there. So I'm not really doing yard work here. None of these videos are talking about yard work yet. Okay? But you know I'm out there doing something. But I'm not recording it, okay? Right? And then we did the Gulf Coast of Mexico, right? You know, in shout of, because of the BP oil and what people were going through. Well, fast track years later, if you were to go into those playlists where I was importing other people's videos into my playlists, along with my own little community activism videos, you'll find that 31 of those videos are now gone or hidden, but more than likely removed. I don't know. They're just not there anymore. They're not accessible. So Gulf Coast of Mexico, okay, yeah, I remember doing that. Right? And we're only in 2010, so I'm living here. I already started community activism with a green space that was being trashed. And don't forget, these property owners, they were going there and bringing their garbage from their properties, and they were dumping it in there too. So it wasn't just homeless people, it was property owners as well. It got real bad. So anyway, now October, okay, we're still doing the Gulf Coast of Mexico, right? And then because, I'm struggling, well, what should I do? Well, work on kids programs. So let's do a little something on new, make, and do, right? To, this is book washing, whatever, right? So I did a video on that in January of 2011. So maybe what I'll do is I'll start a new playlist from 2011, because it looks like I did my video in October of the Gulf Coast of Mexico, didn't do nothing in November, didn't do nothing in December, and then all of a sudden jumped back on the bandwagon in January of 2013. Now, like I said, I do have other printouts long before the gang stalking ever really started. Plus I've got videos on external hard drives and that kind of thing. Not that I'd ever have the time to figure it all out, but, because it just seems odd that, I'm doing videos and then I stop. But then in those days, I didn't really know what I was doing. And, I was just trying to build up my courage to be, I suppose, a YouTuber. I had to find topics that, whatever, right? And yeah, so now we're in January of 2011, right? Still working on the make and do. Did the Marex family and food something, I don't know what that was. But there seems to be a couple of them here. Food, family and food. So I guess I was trying to build in maybe a food channel or something. Right, I was testing the waters with, what is that called? Community stuff in the community. I was testing the waters with crafts in terms of a YouTube video. I was testing the waters with, okay, I'll do cooking, right, as a YouTuber or something, I don't know, and then try and, foster in food security through that foundation with that message, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because you have to remember, I'm working on a foundation here, and I don't really know what to connect with. Okay? So, that's all food. Let's go back down. Because again, I'm trying to figure out what I should do. Okay. We'll go back, take it back down. So we're still in 2011. Now, I don't know where it kicked out in terms of the date because I wasn't paying attention. But now I'm running around in the community, dressing up, you know, talking about doing community programs and setting up, I guess youth programs within the parks that they had available, or maybe working with the homeless people and improving their environments, right? And don't forget, in 2008, I had already done a community garden there. I think it was 2008, yeah, something like that. I had already planted a garden there, but because I didn't have cameras, all I have for proof of that are pictures. All right. So I go to several trees, running around, doing whatever. Okay, life on the fly. So my first, so far that I can see at this point, from the time I moved in, of my yard being documented as I was making videos, trying to figure out what was the best, I don't want to say selling point for the foundation, but what was the best interest content to draw people into supporting the foundation. Was it crafts for kids? And this is just an example of a craft that we could do under a foundation. Or was it planting community gardens and working on community little parks with empty land that was being trashed by property owners as they were throwing out their refuge that they didn't want? Or, right, because the only people that would do, because if it was a tenant and didn't want it, they just fucking leave it behind for the landlord, and then the landlord would be stuck with the bill, and then those landlords would load up their trucks at night and go to that property site and dump their shit. And it was like clockwork on regular basis. And if it wasn't that, it was the homeless people 20 deep living in there, okay, with their trash, bringing in with bags of this and bags of that, and then picking through it, looking for something that they could sell or whatever to make a little bit of money, but then didn't have the resources to haul out the trash. I even went in there and gathered up trash, right? And found a way to try and get it out of there by trying to work with one of those homeless people to help me with that process, because he was thoroughly disgusted with what was going on in that place. All right. So, but Fukushima radiation popped up out of nowhere. I guess it was in around September of 2011. So maybe that would be a good topic to start with my channel. You know, that's a form of community activism. Now we're talking about oceans and waterway and radiation and wildlife and all that stuff. Everything that was written within the foundation. Everything that was listed under the freaking trademark names. So why wouldn't I test my waters there? But by this time, I was so deep in my yard, people. I was getting so fucking deep in my yard, people, that I just brought the camera with me. You see, I'd already started working in my yard. I just wasn't recording it, okay? Because, I don't know, I just wasn't. I didn't know how to really use the camera, and I didn't know what to fucking talk about, for crying out loud. Okay? But I'm focusing on the foundation. So I'm talking about the environment and what's coming our way as Canadians over the Pacific Ocean. And being that I had a foundation, I wanted to be part of the solution and bring about fucking solutions where other people could jump on and we could maybe protect ourselves from being contaminated from cesium-134, cesium-137, which are radioactive isotopes with a half-life of 8 days, some of them, where with plutonium, it's a half-life of how many fucking decades? Okay? I wasn't thinking about recording my yard as documentation as to what it was I was freaking living in, as to what it was I had to deal with when I moved in. And clearly I had already started to tackle the problem because I was building over the fucking mud. I was building over the sand. I was building over the grit. I was building over the water's drainage problem. I was building over the fucking raccoon shit. I was building over the morning glory. I was building over, weeds that like grew 2-3 feet fucking tall, not to mention all the other little weeds that were below it, throughout the whole fucking patch of grass where the greenhouse was, where everything up in here was nothing but fucking mud, while over here it pooled with water because of the drainage problem on the property in general. I wasn't complaining about it. Hell, I can't even say I was really mad at that time, people, because I was up for the challenge, not realizing how difficult and how hard and how long it would take. How difficult it was, how hard it was to do over a period of 12 years to be treated like, you know what? A nig scrub, okay? And how long it would take. So I was not angry because I was naive. And I thought I could do it in a freaking year, not realizing that it would never be done to one degree or another. So I didn't talk about the yard. I didn't complain about the yard. I wasn't angry with the yard. And this is when my landlady, oh, you're always angry. No, I'm not always fucking angry. And if I am, what does it have to do with other people coming into my house, taking my family members so that they either disappeared and never be seen again, as they're pillaged of their family and their assets? I wanted to say R-A-P-E because that's what they did to John, okay? Straight up. Or how about have your daughter murdered right under your nose with everybody in the house? Basically, except for Marcane, because he left and went to work. But he heard her singing in Tisha's room. And then he found out that she was dead when he got home. Okay? Well, Sierra was just basically pimped out in the street for 8 fucking years, as you got the Punjabis saying that, oh no, that's not true. The government housed her. Didn't you know that, Mrs. Chorney? The government you're just delusional. You never, how could you possibly say your daughter was out on the street for 8 years because the government did it to her? No. Don't you know you were sleeping at the wheel? She was housed over here the whole time. You're delusional. That's what the government does. It houses people like Sierra. So don't worry, it will house you after we kick your ass out. As we sit up there and fucking straight up say that you were angry in 2000, when was this, 11? Because of the yard. Fuck no. If I was angry, well, maybe I was a bit annoyed, but I sure in the hell wasn't fucking ranting on about it like I have been for years. With that whip on my back. And this is the point of this fucking video, and this is going to be the point of this playlist going up, because I'm going to pull up the fucking documentation as to what my freaking yard looked like. Now clearly you can see better than me. To me everything's all gray and cloudy, but you know what? I walk the walk. I lived the fucking bullshit that went through what's been going on. Okay? And you're going to see what the state of the porch was like, and you're going to see what the things were ruined because of the porch, with the attitude, well, you don't live on the porch, you live in the house. No, fuck, man, I lived in the fucking yard, for crying out loud. I just didn't document it right away. Okay? Alright. Now we know the history of those first few years with me coming into YouTube, trying to figure out what kind of fucking YouTuber I was going to be. Being that I came in on the right foot to be part of the solution and to help my community and not destroy it. So that I could profit as a private enterprise.
I think what we're going to do.
Yeah. Okay, like I said, you can see better than me. Yeah, do you hear that? I'm moving tarps. Because I moved into a leaky fucking house with a leaky fucking roof. Do you see? I had to start bringing in equipment. There's pallets. Do you see all this shit? That's all fucking weeds back there. Okay? I had to do something, people. I had to. I had no choice. Or I had to move. But I couldn't afford to move because I got fucking ran out of Manpreet's house with her fucking grow-op, her crazy fucking brother, right? And what do you call that? Freaking psychotic fucking heroin addicted electrician uncle, right? Because he was an uncle. You know what I'm saying? With their terrorizing me, like having the hydro cut off, well, they're sitting there with a plug connected to the neighbors, but we've got nothing. We got nothing. We don't even have hot fucking water. Yeah, okay. I had to leave. They wanted me out of there. They blamed me for ruining their fucking life because they got caught with the city. But the city even still conspired to cover it up. They gave them time to let them run off with their fucking grow-up paraphernalia shit. Right? They left the power off at the pole for 14 fucking days to piss me off. We can't be surprised what's going on in here with the city because they favored with the gangsters with the fucking money that drive the fucking Hummers and slang the dope in the community. Unless, of course, they're hanging out with the fine and high and mighty fucking property owners that don't do drugs but are willing to play dirty pool. So an immigrant family can move into a house while the landlord profiteers off of that. Either or, the landlords are all profiteering one way or another. And that's the point of these last couple of videos. Okay, so let's just watch for a minute. Yeah, hear that? That's a tarp.
Some basic stuff in life.
Do you see that? That's a fucking tarp. I had to come in and tarp up my shit. Okay? My park shit. My just whatever shit I had.
I'm not sure how I'm going to put this together. I just want people to know, though, that this Fukushima stuff is just really getting on my nerves.
Oh, so I wasn't complaining about that. That's just the state of my yard. Do you see? I had to bring in wood, people, because when I moved in, there was nothing there. Weeds, mud, grit, sand, landfill, morning glory, raccoon shit, mud, and water drainage problems that pooled water to create more mud. What would you do if you can't afford to move? Well, you try and fix it. Well, that's what I did. So I'd be gathering up shit to start building.
But,
See? Do you see? I even had to go as far as to build this just so I could protect that. Because as soon as you put this shit on this landfill fucking dirt and the grit gets on it, oh my God. And it's still like that. Oh my God. Everything would get so gritty, dirty so fast because it's sitting on mud. With the morning glory moving the mud as it's growing through the fucking landfill dirt. Full of mud and grit and sand. Everything morning glory loves. So as it's moving, it's pushing up, or it would rain. And you know, raindrops, it would hit, right? So the only way I could keep that thing clean was to start building. Do you see? To start building. I'd go to Home Depot, pick up fucking pallets, do whatever, right? Anyway, so right, without having to spend money, but yet have, I don't know what you call it, when you move into a house. You're supposed to have some sense of quality of life. But that wasn't like that for me. But I wasn't complaining about it at this point. No. I was up for the challenge. And so when my landlady says, oh, you're always mad, because she's thinking I'm always mad about the yard, right? And she's not thinking about Shmay. She's not thinking about Sierra. She's not thinking about Uncle John. She's not thinking about what happened to Andre. She doesn't care to think about what happened to Amari. That's not why I'm mad. No, it's everything I'm mad is in regards to the fucking yard. No, you're lying. I got video proof to prove that I was not mad. I didn't get mad until you sick the fucking city on me and try and run me out of the fucking house. And now you're giving me the last ultimatum with a son that wants to use you as a tool to play the victim, as he's got you running around the yard telling my son to be the field nig scrub, to do your bidding like a slave, so that you can feel good about yourself at 84 years old and how fucking strong you are as a landlord to put your tenants into place. And there's only one card left to play. That's what her son said. Next time, you're out. And this is why I'm saying what they're doing right now with evicting my house of everything, my yard, with everything inside of it. Everything. Because they got Mrs. Gill running around pointing at this, and this, and this, and saying, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. And my son is loading up over a ton of fucking shit, good or bad, doesn't matter whether it's fucking good or bad. More the merrier, even if it's killing him, because you know it's fucking waterlogged, then frozen, and then thrown onto the truck. Because they made sure they went out of their way to freeze his ass while they got that whip on his back. Yeah. And if I'm mad about that right now, yeah, I have a right to be mad about that, just as much as I had a right to be mad about Sook keeping me in the yard for 10 fucking months, with me documenting it on YouTube. Because that's just what happened. Right? So in these days, I wasn't angry. I was up for the challenge. I was talking about Fukushima radiation and just walking you through the yard. But I built this to protect my belongings so that they wouldn't be out on the elements on their dirt. Landfill. Forget the dirt. It was landfill. Getting all gritty and muddy and God knows what within a week. At least that gave it a bit, and if you notice, look how nice and clean it is. So, don't tell me I did that all in a month in September of 2011. Fuck no, I was out there already in 2010. I just wasn't documenting it.
We're going to start with the salt and the potatoes, but for now, I have to show you.
Yeah, I have to show you. Even here, do you see the fucking tarp? I don't see that well, but I had to hire, okay? I had to hire somebody to climb up on the fucking roof, take this tarp that I had to buy, people, and attach it up here, hoping that that would be enough to prevent inside this, all of this, from leaking. But it didn't work. It didn't fucking work. I paid for the tarp, and that was a big-ass tarp. I paid for the man to fuck a homeless man, because anytime I'd ask my landlord for something, she'd always tell me to go get a homeless man to do it. Make it as cheap as possible. So I guess I got a homeless man to climb up there and fix the fucking porch for her in 2011, as it was ruining my shit. Alright? Like, this shit's not funny.
That I'm still doing other things in the yard.
Yeah, I'm like going nuts in there with that mud and shit, trying to think how my family could be happy in there in a year or two, or a year. Because again, I didn't know it was going to take all this time, people. I didn't realize how fucking hard it was. The only time I ever worked like this was when I was a field nigrub back in my past life somewhere with a whip on my back. And that's the only reason I've had the stamina to get through it in real life in 2020. Or 2000, yeah, in 2011, 12, well, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way up until fucking 2025. I forgot how long it took to do these things. But my heart was in the right spot.
I really want to talk about...
Do you see this? Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm bringing in from broken houses or wherever in the neighborhood, driving around, picking up fucking wood to start building, bringing in fucking rocks to make a fire pit because it was a big fucking mud pit. So if it was going to be a mud pit, I might as well make a fire pit. That's the way I figured it, right? Over here, when the fucking weeds started to grow in this section where the greenhouse is now, these things used to get up to 3 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet fucking high, and a whole bunch of little weeds in the middle with the raccoons running through there fucking shitting in it. Okay, you tell me if you'd want a backyard like that. Well, I had a backyard like that, and I didn't know what to do with it other than what I freaking did. I just didn't know it was going to take so long. And then the fucking landlord would turn around and do the things that they've done over the years for profit. For their self-profit.
Parents and kids.
Do you hear me talking about the yard? No. Was I complaining? No. Was I angry about it? No.
And the roles that each play.
Look at that fence. Old. Grayed and worn and weather-worn. Weather-worn fucking fence. It had been there for how many years before I moved in? God only knows.
In our society.
It wasn't you, that's for sure. See, we hadn't... it looks like Marcane did put a post. I see posts. I don't know what the hell I'm seeing here. It looks like these are posts.
And as a parent...
maybe Marcane and I were starting to work on the greenhouse. Because I gave up with that area. He couldn't even mow it. It was impossible. Unless I'm looking at something else. Because, you know, again, my eyes... oh no, that's the post. I don't know. Because that's the area where the greenhouse is, I'm sure. That could be what this is. I don't know yet. I have to
You can
go
see
back
that
into
I
my
provide
videos.
some direction. I'm a single parent. So it's not like I have a man that does this for me.
Yeah, do you see how I had to... that's my first original shed. To protect my son, my stuff, from their fucking filthy, dirty, greedy fucking landfill yard. That's what they had me move into. And because they showed me the house at night, I never seen the yard. I never even knew how big it was, nothing. I couldn't see a damn thing. Not that they wanted me to, because they rushed me through the back door right immediately into the basement, brought us back upstairs, and then said, take it now, right, yeah, walk out or don't come back. If you want to keep it, give us cash now. And that's exactly what we did. And we got the fucking key. And then I moved my family in on December 15th to have the fucking pipe clog up for 2 weeks. Wow. This was in 2011. I'd already started to do.
Okay? And I get a lot of criticism from my kids because they say I hoard things. But they don't understand that,
And Uncle John helped me with this too, you know.
you know, for everything that you want to do or...
Do you see? That's all weeds. That's all fucking weeds. Do you see any grass in there? I don't see no grass in there because there was no grass. I had to transplant grass from other properties where their houses were torn down with sod, dirt, soil under that, and bring it here to put on top of landfill so that I could have any sense of fucking a semblance of grass for at least a little while, for a few years, when I had the energy to be out there every day doing what I was doing to try and make it look nice. Okay?
need to do or full of water.
Yeah, full of water.
Fukushima rain. You know, I'm trying to protect everything.
I want you to just see the crap. That's mud. Do you see that? That's the shit I ran around in with my fucking work boots on.
And as I'm protecting and it's being rained on.
It's hard to stop at the camera, right?
I get a good dose of...
All weeds. Does that look like grass to you? That's not fucking grass. That's weeds. Weeds with thick-ass roots, deep-ass roots, spread out all over the place. And then along comes the morning glory. Loosens things up as it travels through the night every 4 to 6 inches per root. Makes it more easier for all these other plants to take even deeper and stronger root.
Radiation today.
This is what they want. By taking everything away now. So they can come back and complain to me that everything turned to fucking weeds. Yeah, okay.
So anyway.
So what's this? That's the other half of the shed. They gave me a broken down fucking lawnmower that couldn't even work. So eventually I had to complain about that. And so they gave me money to buy another one, to which I've had ever since. But there was no place to put it outside of the garage, open garage. So I put it there, you can see. Something is there. Maybe that's a push lawnmower, because I had a push lawnmower by that time. I still do, unless of course my son found it and fucking threw it out. But I guess whoever empties out that fucking bin outside with all my belongings in it get to pick through and take what they want, right? Isn't that how it works? It's not being moved around. It's just going to be picked up, hauled out of here, and then whoever's going to fucking empty it out is going to walk in and pick through it and take the good stuff and throw out the junk. Being that my landlady told my son to throw out everything. Doesn't matter if it's broken or not broken. Doesn't matter if it's needed or not needed. Doesn't matter if it's in good shape or in bad shape. Throw it all fucking out. And then blame the city for that.
100 and...
As she's mocking me and saying that I'm always mad. Without realizing why I'm mad. Because she doesn't acknowledge that I have had 2 daughters murdered, their organs illegally harvested, right? 1 grandchild severely injured by a doctor that is obviously protected by Fraser Health Authority in the province. Another one that was illegally apprehended and basically held captive for 15 months in foster care, right? And made my family suicidal until we got him back. And then they went in after Uncle John because he represented big bucks with a whole bunch of kickbacks and bribes being paid out just to get what Eleanor wanted. It didn't matter if she spent $50,000 on bribes. It would have been a drop in the bucket for her, considering what Joan left John. So, you know, I'd like to see Mrs. Gill walk in my shoes and fucking come out happy. Seriously, with a whip on her back, with people like her doing what they do to me, instead of me have it be done to you and then tell me that you're happy with the yard, with the whip on your back. Because she's not saying I'm mad with what happened to my family. Honestly, she doesn't care. And if she does, it's only for a fleeting moment. Oh, my condolences. But not in the sense of she knows something's wrong, but she doesn't care to fix it. She plays into it and enjoys the power tripping around it. Clearly.
maybe 2-pound woman dug 1, 2.
Yeah, I dug 1, 2.
I took an old bed frame and I cemented that into the ground.
Because I had to build something to protect my stuff from the elements and the gritty fucking yard and the mud and the raccoons. Because raccoons like to climb over everything, people. And then you got their little muddy paws on everything yet? Oh my God.
I made a hood, a roof, with some wood.
And you have to remember, I had Andre at this time. He was born in September of 2010. So I was planning for my grandson to have little outside Fisher-Price play toys to do the things that I wanted for, like, what I want now for Alea May and Kyrie. But that's been robbed for them. Okay? And no, I couldn't do much with Andre in those days because everything was so fucking muddy. Once in a while, we take it out to the front and let him play. But other than that...
And then I washed everything that got rained on.
Yeah, as soon as the rain came, it bounced, the fucking rain hit that grit and everything, and then it spit back up and spread fucking sand and grit all over this shit. And I had to wash it. You know how many things and times I've washed shit out in this yard? Oh, too many to count. Oh, there, look at that. What Marcane is throwing out right now that somebody is going to take out of that bin is right there, people. God works in mysterious ways. Why are we seeing this right now when I just showed this to you in a fucking bin where my landlord is telling my son to throw out everything in this yard, including children's toys that I've had since 2011. And I had to build a shed on her property to protect that from getting filthy because of the grit that was in the backyard from every inch of it. And now it's in a bin ready to go to some recycling center where somebody's going to open up the door and find it and say, wow, that's in good shape. I'm going to take this home for my child, being that nobody wants it. Or, wow, I can sell that on fucking Facebook. Pick up a few dollars, being that nobody wants it. Kyrie's not important. Alea May is not important. I'm sure in the hell not important. Who cares about Amari? He would never understand. So what difference if it's important to Amari or not? There is no fucking difference. The point is, it's right there. The point is, when they open it up to empty out that container, somebody's going to scoop up on it. That's what the city and my landlord has conspired to do. They have robbed me of my children's belongings. Grandchildren's belongings, I should say. There is a dollar value on that. If I go and I try and take it out of that fucking bin, my son will have a fucking hissy fit. And he will start talking to me like trash, like Mrs. Gill's son talked to me. And he's already threatened to go inside and not lift another fucking finger if I take it out of that cab. That bin, that garbage bin that they rolled up with. See, that's why they came with such a big one, because they wanted the goods. They wanted the fucking goods. How much is that worth, do you think? Because it looks almost as new as the day I got it. And all it takes is a little soap and water to make it look even better. $20? It's Tiny Tykes. That's a brand name fucking product. $50? $75? Can you even find those things anymore? Probably not. And if you do, they're not going to be as strong and sturdy as that. Because you know how they're shrinkflation, making everything inferior these days. So he's throwing out solid toys that you can't find anymore simply because my landlord said, get rid of everything in the yard. Why? Why is she evicting me out of the yard by illegally seizing my property without due process? Why?
When I moved here, I didn't have time. I didn't have shelter to put any of this in. So this year, over the last winter, it got all rained on.
All this is already gone.
Now, I do have a grandson, and
Yeah, I have a grandson. If I didn't have a grandson, I wouldn't have that stuff.
I don't have a lot of money.
But I don't have a lot of money.
So a smart woman, a wise woman, you know, would you...
I don't have a lot of money. Well, my landlord is making me end up owing her fucking $1,000 just so that she can get more money on her fucking rent. After she robbed me of my fucking belongings, basically, in partnership with the fucking city. Alright? One can't do what one does without the other one helping them. Let's face it, people. Alright? So she's costing me even more. Well, no, she's not costing me. Because I'll never be able to buy it now because I could never bring it here because it would never be fucking safe. None of us are safe here anymore. We haven't been safe here for a long time. Okay? Because if we were, they wouldn't be treating us this way. But yeah, she's basically robbed me of my belongings in this yard. Of my personal belongings in this yard. For whatever her agenda is. And I think we already know it. Her son wants to kick us out so he can get his $4,800 a month.
Use some elbow grease and a good old thing called bleach.
This is all a built shed now. 2 of them, eh? Wood, open door, everything. Subfloors, all of it. But this is how it started. Uncle John came out and helped me for a little while, but I did the majority of it.
No matter, because...
Well, I did all of it. John held up something and kept me company and encouraged me to keep going.
At the end of the day, as you can see, it's nice and clean now.
Yeah, it's nice and clean now. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Well, I'm not even going to include Mr. Gill. Not that I'm stuck holding up to Mr. Gill because I'll never see him again. And if I ever do, it will only be in the afterlife. And I hope to hell it's not out in that fucking field with whips on our back. Yeah. God forbid.
Compared to, say...
Yeah, compared to,
this
say...
stuff over here.
What are we looking at?
Which I still have to wash.
Which I still have to wash. Because it got all gritty from their shit. Shitty dirt. You got raccoons shitting in that fucking dirt. Being spread around with their paws. Okay?
There's my brush.
How long would you want to live with that? And if you couldn't afford to move, what would you do? What would you do? Just never go out in your backyard and call it a fucking day? Kind of like what my landlord's doing now. Don't ever go out in your fucking yard. Unless, of course, the only thing you can do now is just weed it. That's it. Fucking weed it and nothing more and nothing less. You can't fucking plant flowers in a planter pot. You can't fucking have kids play on Fisher Price. That's what they're called. Fisher Price or Little Tykes or something. Fisher Price fucking quality fucking outside toys that you can't find no more because they're the originals. I've been robbed, people. Literally, I have been fucking robbed.
Because...
Right? More tarps. Did you hear it?
This is what Fukushima...
Yeah, I had to tarp it up to keep it from getting... Look, didn't even have a place to put a fucking cat box. Crying out loud. Right?
has infected.
Has infected. I wasn't talking about the grit and the grant, but I was mentioning that I had to wash, I had to wash, I had to wash.
So before I put it away, I have to wash it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there was no grass.
This pile of stuff here will be washed and scoured.
That was a little playhouse for Andre. As a matter of fact, you probably hear him in the background right now. I was bringing in fucking pallets, right, from the Home Depot just to figure out what I was going to build to solve my problem, which ultimately was never my problem. It was always the landlord's problem. Like I said, they started neglecting the house when they first fucking bought it in 1992, right? There was a reason why they showed it to me at night, so I wouldn't see the fucking problem.
Because I'm building a shelter the end of summer, I'll be able to store it, but I still have to put sides on it.
Well, it wasn't a shelter, it was a shed. It started off as shelter, and it turned into sheds.
To keep the raccoons out.
Yeah, because they crawl in everything, people. So even when I'm washing and putting it there, tarping it over, the raccoons are still getting in there with their muddy fucking paws, crawling all over the place. But not as bad as it was outside, though, with the rain and everything.
I'm in the process of trying to encourage my 20-year-old son to help me to build a dog den. He did.
Yeah, because what else? I had to do something. So I started, I guess, thinking about a dog den.
These posts. But then, I don't know.
So, yeah. So I didn't post those by myself. I don't think I did. I think my son did that.
None of my kids seem to want to have this dog. So.
Sadie is the one that barked at the Project Bluebeam because she's seen it before I seen it through the converting over the video.
I put her up on Craigslist.
But she was a dog that liked to run. You open the door and that thing would bolt out the door and you'd be running down the street for 5 blocks trying to get it back as it was barking at people. Eventually I gave it to my vet. His last name was Ball too, and he was a Punjabi, but he was a nice man, and he came and he picked her up for me and found a home for her.
But I have a sneaky feeling that maybe somebody wanted to adopt her out for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, so I ended up having my vet, Dr. Ball. I'm pretty sure his name was Dr. Ball. At the Delta Animal Hospital. A Punjabi man with a turban. But he was an honest man. And he actually fucking cared. And he came and he got her for me and he promised me he'd find her a good home because I just couldn't cope with this dog bolting all the time, right? She was a high needs dog, high energy and young. And I was working in the yard, people, in mud. And Sadie was white with black. Could you imagine that dog rolling around in the backyard in mud, grit and sand? Oh my God.
And if she goes to a family, it has to be a family home because she is a good dog. But she needs a firm trainer. Mm-hmm. And she's a strong dog, so she likes to move everything around the yard. So I have to build a dog den. So this is the dog.
Okay, so I did. I let her run around out there and just be a dog. But that's when I decided to start trying to build in that freaking doghouse, right? And by December 24th of 2011, what do we get on camera? A little fucking Project Bluebeam creature going through the fence and scooting off towards where I was going to put the freaking doghouse, with Sadie barking in the background because she's seen it, because her eyes see things differently than human eyes.
Then this was part of it over here, but I got into an argument.
Obviously, I'm not very good at the camera whipping it around
here, and then he kind of turned around and took some of his.
So yeah, I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build with not having to dig into my pocket. Do you see how rotten that fence looks? Look at the color of it. That's supposed to be cedar siding, people. Now, I don't see very well, but that looks pretty freaking weather-worn to me, don't you think? Does that look like nice cedar siding? Hell no. Hell no.
His anger out on that, which is fine.
And I had to go to Home Depot and get scraps of wood or find fucking wood in areas where, properties were being torn down and this shit was just spewed around and nobody wanted it. Because my landlords weren't there to help me. They left me with fucking weeds. Do you see any grass in that, people? Where is the grass? There is no grass. There never was no grass until I transplanted it in with some soil underneath it. And even then, there wasn't enough soil for it to thrive as grass.
wood. You know, better that than anything else.
Look, does that look like grass to you? What kind of grass looks like that? That's weeds.
And, but he hasn't come back to help repair it.
Looking for the weeds.
So I bought the tool.
Does that look like grass to you people? That's not grass. Grass doesn't look like that. That was my backyard if it wasn't a patch of fucking mud. Or just straight up grit. When that shit died off, what the hell do you think was left over? And when morning glory dies, it turns to sludge. Especially if it's soaking in landfill with a drainage problem. So now I'm working with fucking slime and sludge. Trying to clean up decomposing morning glory that I didn't get a chance to rip out. Because as fast as I was ripping it out, it was growing.
We can cut.
Now, at that time, was I angry? No, not really, because I didn't know that it was going to be like that for the next fucking 12 years of my life. I just took it for granted that, you know, put in some hard work hard, right? Pace yourself through it. You'll have it done in a year or two, and you won't have to worry, and your family can go in the backyard and actually be of a happy family and work on doing positive things in the community via through the foundation, or them just growing up being responsible human beings by going to work and, you know, paying their bills and paying their taxes and staying out of fucking trouble. Right? That's all I wanted. Yeah, sure.
Cut the wire, but I'm really not strong enough to lift the wire.
Yeah, I managed to find that. Somehow that showed up on the property. It was free. It probably came from Delta Spring Cleanup. Out on the curb. And I brought it home because I needed it. Because my landlords expected me to do something with their yard. Yeah. But they gave me no help. No workers to help me. No money to fucking help me do it. Nothing. They gave me a lawnmower. And even then, they had to replace it. Because the one we had didn't fucking work right. That was it.
Although it may come to that, because if...
Do you see grass? There's no disputing it. Does that look like grass to you? That looks like buttercup to me. Which would be reasonable. That was my grass. If you want to call it that. When it wasn't weeds that grew up, like I said, 2 feet, 3 feet high, or whatever.
If you wait for people to do it for...
If you wait. Obviously, I was waiting for the landlord to help, but they didn't care.
For you, it doesn't get done. So, you know...
And my kids didn't want to do it because they're kids.
I guess that's what parents come in.
I guess that's what parents... I had to make a choice. Either let them go in the backyard and wallow in mud, grit, blah, 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 or try and make it nice for my family. And that's exactly what I did, considering that my landlord said, take it now, stay as long as you want, and we'll never raise the rent. So they gave me the motivation to try and do it for my family. But that's all they gave me, was false hope with motivation. Because I thought I had security.
Right? You know, parents are supposed to show leadership. So my leadership is, here's a sandbox that, you know, has been sitting out in the rain and it's been rained on since God knows when. So I got to get the old bleach in the bucket. And the
yeah, and this is the stuff that my son is throwing out. Not realizing that somebody's going to capitalize off of some of that shit and take it home to their own fucking kids. Or maybe give it to their mother, or to their brother, or maybe to their sister, or maybe to their neighbor for a few dollars. But they're going to do something with it. They're not going to let it go into the fucking landfill, people. No way. And this is my landlady telling my son to throw out everything. Are you listening to me? Do I have a right to at least list down the property value in terms of what they threw out? In the event of something in the future? Assuming that I'm alive? At the rate that we're going? Assuming that I don't lose more because of these people at the rate that I'm going? In terms of really becoming homeless, with them driving up with their next big fucking bin and coming in here and throwing my shit out into that fucking bin with my ignorant son, is in terms of naive and being captured by a bunch of fucking crooks helping them to do it? He can't tell me. Oh boy, man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Scrub brush and spray it down and wash it and everything else, and then maybe next year.
I'm looking for those patches of grass. I haven't found one yet.
It has a cover too, and then maybe next year I'll put.
Yeah, and he's throwing it out because it's still in the yard. As a matter of fact, Amari and Alea May were using it. Right? But not this year. The kids will have no swimming pool to play in this fucking godless yard. It is a godless, okay? Godless yard. Because my son threw it out. Because my landlady told him to.
Some sand in it, and my little grandson can play in that. That would be nice. Yeah, so.
What are we looking at here?
You know.
Still gathering things, because I didn't know what to do.
This is what I have to do before the end of October.
Some of this stuff I moved in with and had no place to put it, so it just piled up back there, and along came the rain and made everything fucking filthy. And then the raccoons just crawled over everything and got it even more filthy with their little paw marks. Oh yeah.
October at least, you know, before winter really sets in. So this is a couple days work, and then what I'm putting in here.
And that's why I built the sheds, to get that shit out of there.
After I clean this all out and move it out, I've got wood on the other side of my yard that I'm going to be stacking up on here. So I bought a chainsaw.
Yeah, and then I'm buying tools now. I had to buy fucking tools. It wasn't a chainsaw. It's skill saw. Did I say chainsaw or skill saw? Either or. I had to buy a fucking skill saw. Isn't that what I just said? Hell, we might as well make this video, you know, back in the day. Just go down memory lane here, because this is what it was like for me.
On the other side of my yard that I'm going to be stacking up on here. So I bought a chainsaw.
Okay, I call it a chainsaw. I didn't buy a chainsaw. I bought a skill saw. I started having to buy fucking man tools and be out there and work like a man, because the work got hard. Are we looking at grass or are we looking at fucking dirt? Looks like dirt, fucking gritty, fucking, I don't know what the hell that shit is, but that's sure in the hell not freaking grass. Hell no.
And, you know, I got axe.
There's your grass. Does that look like grass to you?
I got all that stuff.
Does that all look like grass to you? Where is the grass?
That you're supposed to need. Actually, Craigslist.
Okay. That's my rocks, I guess, I started to bring in to make my fire pit, because I got tired of the mud. That's the only reason the fire pit came on board, because I was getting tired of the mud, the grit, and I didn't know what else to do. I thought rocks would solve the mud, but in the end I ended up bringing in sand, and I encased it with sand throughout the whole thing, and then I ran just a circle of rocks around, and then I ended up using these rocks over landscaping fabric someplace else to cover up the weeds. So they became ornamental rocks. But I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is I had a huge problem, front, back, left, right. The whole property was a huge fucking problem. And I had no money to buy things, nobody to help me or whatever. So I went with what was free and natural as best as I could. Right?
Good.
But that's why they're all there, because I didn't know how to make a fire pit. I was going to put the rocks at the bottom of the fire pit, and then right. But then I realized you can't heat up rocks like that, because if you heat up rocks like that, they can explode, and then they're flying out. So to hell with that. No. We'll use that for those rocks. So I did. I used them for ornament to cover up weeds after I laid down fabric, landscaping fabric. And then I dug out a hole, and then I went into the front, being that I was full of sand, and I had so much sand I didn't know what to do with it. And I bring buckets and buckets and I'd carry these buckets, 5-gallon buckets, myself, full of fucking sand, pour it in there, push it up along the sides, right? Gave it a good, I don't know how many inches, but enough, right? So that if you did have a fire in there, the sand would, insulate heat from, or whatever. In other words, I made it in a safe way, right? And then this is what I mean. And if I wouldn't have done that, it would have been what you've been looking at when it comes to weeds and grit and all that crap.
It's actually a pretty good little site. I went under the free section. And,
yeah, I'm going on Craigslist, looking under the free section to see what I can find that maybe I can bring home and maybe use it to help do whatever the hell it was I was doing. Does that look like grass to you? Where's the grass? There is no grass.
I got free river rocks.
Okay, so those ones were river rocks. I actually got them offline off of Facebook Market, went to the person's house, loaded up my trunk and brought them home, and then carried them there because I didn't know what else to do other than maybe build a fire pit, not realizing that you can't put a fire on top of rocks like that, because if they get too fucking hot, they'll crack and they'll fly and become dangerous. But they ended up becoming ornamental to cover up weeds from growing back.
So all I have
wherever I place them.
to do is just...
Does that look like grass to you people? Have you ever seen grass like that? I've never seen grass like that. It was all buttercups and shit.
Go drive and load them up in my car. I still got about half in my... I got more than half in my car.
Look at that.
And
this is sad.
some in my front yard.
Do you hear me getting mad? Like my landlady accuses me of being mad about this yard? No. I'm trying to stay positive.
But these are river rocks that somebody didn't want in their yard anymore, so I gathered those up and brought them here. So what we're going to be putting here is a little bit of a fire pit for the kids.
Yeah, not realizing that you can't have them in the bottom of a fire. Showed you how much I knew. I didn't figure that out until after the fact.
So that they can, do YouTube and we'll talk about things and do...
Does that look like grass to you? Fuck no, that looks more like morning glory and shit, and just whatever. Look at that. I was probably pulling out morning glory fucking roots. That looks like morning glory roots, people. Look at that. That's the shit I was pulling out of the ground throughout the whole property. That's what morning glory roots look like, people.
Things and...
That's morning glory roots.
I'll put it right here.
I'd pull out bags full of that crap. And we're talking those composting garden bags that are like a garbage can full of nothing but morning glory roots. And when that shit spoils and starts to decompose, oh my God. Not to mention what the leaves do.
They can roast a marshmallow or have a hot dog. And I got some nice cooking pots that I picked up from Value Village, cast iron, that will specifically be used for cooking.
So my landlady told my son to throw out toys that I've had since 2011 because I had a grandson named Andre. And now that I've got grandchildren named Alea May and Kyrie, for whatever reason, she feels that I don't have the right to have them, and she has the right to destroy them and have them removed off of the property. Well, at least destroy it for me and the kids to not have them, because you know nobody's going to throw that out on the other end when they empty out that bin, okay? Because that was in good shape, what I showed you today in terms of that little green thing.
Some of the food that I'm dehydrating in case of the event of hydro go.
Yeah. Gathering wood from wherever I could find it, including Home Depot or whatever, dragging it home in Old Betsy to build something to cover up the fucking weeds. Where the landlord, where the raccoons were shitting in it. Look at this. And those roots got deep. Real deep. With some of those weeds.
Goes out and there's no water and there's none of this stuff. So all in all.
And then they had a blackberry bush that just got bigger and bigger and bigger as the years went by. And nobody helped me to maintain it.
No, even though this is just one big pile of mess right now and I'm not getting a lot of help with it. You know.
Now, in that situation, I was probably getting a little annoyed with my kids. But it wasn't their responsibility to do that, people. No. Any more than it was my responsibility. But as a parent, I was cornered into it. I was tricked into it. I was set up for it.
You know, as a parent with children that like to talk about their mother and, you know, how she's such a bad person.
Well, yeah, because they were harassing me. Right? Because they weren't happy with that fucking shit going on. With the house, yard, and everything. They didn't want me badgering them to help them. To have them help me.
Because she hoards rocks.
Because I hoard rocks. No, I wasn't hoarding. I was gathering them up to try and cover up my landlord's problems. So that my children could have a quality of life while we lived in this house. But instead, this house, this yard, robbed my children of their mother. Because she was always in the yard working. So that she could have a house for her kids while she lived outside. And that's not being delusional. And when I was recording all this shit back in those days, I wasn't thinking about talking about that in 2025. Okay?
You know, they don't see that.
But times have changed. Where landlords can now get $4,800 for a broken down house that they're going to tear down anyway. Mm-hmm.
The vision behind the rock.
And if you can't pay that, then you get mistreated. Not that you haven't been mistreated, because you have. You just get it worse. Because they're counting on that $4,800 kicking in sooner than later. Before they sell the house. So it can be torn down. So they make profit on selling the house, and they make profit on kicking you out so that they can raise more rent until they sell it.
Rocks.
Without really fixing anything, as they steal your stuff. With kickbacks to that.
Don't understand that it.
Yep. And turn your family member against you and make it look like he stole it. Because if I was to ever say anything to my landlord about what he is doing out there right now, and then say you told him to do it, get rid of all the toys, she will straight up and fucking lie in my face and say that's not what she said, so that she doesn't have to be responsible. But I was standing there when she told him to throw out every single fucking planter pot that he can find because the city doesn't want it, and neither does she. Every single fucking planter pot, including the nice black ones that if you went to Home Depot, you'd have to pay $40 or $50 per fucking black fucking pot container. Because they were in good shape and they were large, and she knew it because she's not dumb. So she made $150 fucking dollars off of 3 planter pots that she told my son that he could not keep, to get rid of it, right along with everything else that he can touch with his hands, including children's toys. And then accuse you of being mad all the time when you're upset. As she's telling you, you can't even have a planter pot on your fucking property that you rent. Because she's evicting me. That's why. That's just the first stage of evicting me. And she's being vicious about it, and she's using the city to help her to do it.
If you don't lift the rock and exercise the mind and exercise the arms. And
now remember, I'm the only one carrying these rocks from my car in the front all the way to the back.
Make the effort to make the pit, you're not going to be able to roast the hot.
Does that look like grass to you? Where's the grass, people? There was no grass.
Hot dog.
The weeds like to grow over there with the raccoons running through, shitting in it and doing whatever. And up this way was, over in this corner, was drainage problems where the water would pool and you'd get a little pond of water, right? And depending on how much rain, it would get bigger and then it would shrink, and it would get bigger and it would shrink. I ended up running gravel rocks with lining and a drainage pipe this way and that way to help solve that problem, to which I basically did. And over on this way, coming this way towards closer to the house, was nothing but mud. The smaller weeds, if it wasn't straight up mud with the grit and the sand and the gravel and God knows what, right? It was disgusting.
You know, they expect to roast a hot dog when it's dinner time. Okay, so anyway, back to Fukushima. So Fukushima, my lesson.
Hold on a minute. Okay, so my day got kind of shot here with all this. I won't be uploading this.
Wash your copper now.
Rinse it out, please. I won't be uploading this video until well into the evening of tomorrow, and that's assuming that I'm feeling okay, or the next day, okay? We've got this other video, this one here, which I made today, City of Surrey, Day 8. Landlord said, throw out everything, okay, in the process of being uploaded, which I did today. And in light of what's going on and what I'm seeing, now we're looking at this, backtracking into 2011, where by the grace of God, we see that little toy that I wanted to keep for Kyrie while he was still in Canada, so that he could play with it with his sister, and maybe Amari could sit outside and laugh and giggle and have a little playtime with the kids, even though he can't get up out of the chair and play with that toy. But he likes to socialize with them, and he loves them, and he loves being with them. But fuck, my landlady said, fuck that shit. You don't get to have anything in your yard because you're basically being evicted out of it, and we're going to use your son as free labor to clear it out. Thank you. And that's exactly what's happening. But I'm showing you what the yard looked like in 2011 with me already working in it ever since I fucking moved in, and the weather warmed up in December of 2010. No, because I moved in I moved in November of 2009. I got the house in 2009. So I already started working in this yard in January or February. It was February or March when I could actually get outside and do something after the cold snap of winter. So by we'll say by February, March, I started working in this yard in 2010, people, but I never fucking recorded it because it was nothing but flat mud, flat dirt, landfill dirt. Forget the soil. There was no soil. Grass couldn't grow. The only thing that could grow was fucking weeds and morning glory and cat shit and germs. That was it. And mud. Right? Sometimes the mud would increase because it would rain and the water would inch up and then it would go away. It'd be nothing but fucking mud. And then it would rain again and the water would inch up again. It'd end up way up over here. Be nothing but, okay, you get my point, right? But I wasn't recording it. I was dealing with it. I was trying to be positive, be a positive role model to my kids, right? As they were getting mad at me because I was bringing shit home so I could build over the fucking mud and yada-yah-yah. Were my landlords harassing me then? No. Did they expect me to do it? Yes. They expected me to mow their weeds with their lawnmower that didn't work. And when I did get one, that's all they gave me for this yard. Nothing more and nothing less except a whip on my back.
On Fukushima, I think the biggest lesson...
Does that look like grass to you? It's not. It's buttercup with a whole lot of more buttercup with the morning glory mixed in. And the further you got towards the blackberry bush, the higher the fucking weeds got. And the roots were deep. With the raccoons running through it and shitting in it.
Number one lesson is be prepared before it happens.
And that's what they wanted somebody to take the lawnmower through and call it a day.
Because that's what really took me off guard. I know
God works in mysterious ways, people. I haven't looked at these videos for a very, very long time. For me to see that green thing, considering that I seen that little green mountain thing today, and to put a dollar value on that, well, I'm going to put it at 200 fucking bucks. It was an antique. It was an original Fisher-Price toy that you can't find anymore unless you raid other people's yards to get it, basically.
In the 1960s, people talked more about, let's zoom in on these rocks. People talked more about nuclear power and...
Okay, so now we're just looking at a bunch of rocks. How long do we look at these rocks for? I don't know. Okay, I'm moving away from the rocks.
When the radiation...
Does that look like fucking grass to you? No, I threw those rocks on a bunch of weeds. That's what I did.
A very large family.
Mm-hmm. Oh. God speaks in mysterious ways. There's my beautiful daughter, Shimei. Do you know what Mr. Gill tells me about Shimei? Shimei looks like his granddaughter. Or is it his daughter-in-law? No, I think more like his granddaughter. Every time I seen him, he always told me Shimei looked like his granddaughter. Yeah, well, they listed her down in her medical files to be Punjabi at one point. Kind of makes me wonder why, when they damn well knew she wasn't Punjabi. But if you're trafficking organs, what better way to sell organs to a Punjabi than to say it came from a Punjabi human being? And being that Shimei looked Punjabi, at least in my landlord's eyes, I could see why her medical files were fucking falsified. Little did she know, she only had 7 years left to live in this house. Well, actually less than that, because this was done in September of 2011, isn't it? Right? She died in April of 2018. She didn't die. She was murdered in 2018. And as soon as they took her body out of here, within 7 hours, they were harvesting her organs. Because I got the timeline down to a T. And I can guarantee you there are Punjabis, more than one, that are walking around with her fucking body parts inside of them. And I don't mean fucking in terms of to hell with Shimei. It's them that are walking with her body parts inside of them. More than one. Her heart, her liver, her kidneys, her lungs, her eyes. Well, the robotoid got the teeth. And they did something with her skin. And they took her fucking hair. And probably put it on a robotoid to make it look real. And probably for fingernails too, to make it look real. Because I doubt a Punjabi would want Shimei's fingernails.
And I'm talking about parents and their responsibilities towards their kids. I'm talking about Fukushima and how you should be prepared.
And now that I think about it, and I think of their granddaughter, because she's come to my house a few times to collect rent when my landlords are in India doing whatever they do there, she does. Shimei looks like their granddaughter. Yep. For all I know, maybe Shimei's organs went to the granddaughter and nobody's just saying anything to me. Why would they tell me? Do you honestly think they would tell me? Of course they wouldn't. But if their granddaughter was dying and needed organs and they had money and the system was in place to get her organs, don't you think that they would do it even if it was illegal? Of course they would. And don't you think that my videos don't show that they would, just by the very way they treat my family and have been treating my family and what they're doing to my family now? To little 3 and 6 year old children that have no toys, absolutely no fucking toys to play in this yard because of my landlord at 84 years old is running around on a power trip because she knows she's got the city fucking backing her up because they're all plotting and scheming how to get my ass, the other half of my ass, because I've already been evicted from my yard. Fuck, it's not my yard. Don't ask me to fucking do anything in it. You evicted me from it. You took away my stuff. You robbed me. That's basically what you fucking did. You're costing me thousands and thousands of fucking dollars. You're worse than the fucking nonprofit, for crying out loud. Because I started spending money the minute I got into my car and started looking around for fucking things to fix your problem. Whether I paid for it or I used gas to go fucking scrounge around and haul it home and let it pile up so I could build something. So that my family could live and be happy. But little did I know that my family was slated for illegal organ harvesting or for slave labor. One or the other. Because it sure in hell wasn't set up to have a quality of living and to be successful in life. Fix them up.
For Fukushima accidents and radiation, and not after the fact, because it takes way too long to prepare for after the fact. I'm talking about how I'm washing things that have been rained on that has Fukushima radiation on it.
For fuck the Fukushima radiation. The government cut off the freaking radiation detectors. Okay? What about the grit and the grime and the sludge and the algae and everything else? The sand that was accumulating on this shit because that's what it was sitting in. And then as soon as the rain came and the raccoons started running around, oh my God. I was washing for days and days and days and days. And then I'd wash it again. And then I realized I needed to make at least a makeshift fucking shed. And that's exactly what I did.
But at the end of the day, if we want to have a fire pit out here, somebody
Does that look like grass to you people? Look how bumpy it is. Do you see how bumpy it is?
Has to come out here and do the work. Now, I'm
Okay?
not saying that I did this all by myself, because I didn't. Of course, my children do come out from time to time and they help me. Obviously, my son, he dug some posts there and he got...
Okay, so my son did put in the post because we were thinking of building in a dog den, and those posts are still standing there today. Right? We took the chain, the chain link fence, and we ran it this way and we ran it that way. We took a pallet, we made a freaking door that you could open, right, or whatever, and then Project Boom came in December on the 25th, right on Christmas Eve, and went right through the chain link fence. And that was the first documentation of energy weapons going through my yard. And now I understand why my landlords never, ever, once, ever helped me in this yard. Because they know energy weapons are going through it and they did not want to expose themselves to it. And that's why they avoided it. Yeah. That's why they avoided it. Does that look like good fucking fencing to you? Do you see what that fence looks like? Look at it. It's all weather worn. It was rotten when I moved in, people.
got it ready. But it's
interesting. It took this year 14 years to finally really start to fall apart. It's amazing that I could keep a rotten fucking fence together for 13 and a half years. Don't you think? I think so.
At the end of the day, I'm not strong enough to take the freaking fence, line it up. I bought the nails, or the right kind of hooks or whatever, I've got the hammer.
So I had to kind of plead with my son to help me finish it, right?
Right? I bought the chainsaw, I got the right kind of clippers, but at the end of the day, I'm only a 100-pound woman,
Yeah, 100-pound woman.
I have a 210, 220-pound son.
Okay, so I am bitching on about Marcane not helping me because, why should he? It's not his yard, right? He didn't want me using him as a tool. Yeah, okay.
That's like over 6 feet.
But really, it wasn't his responsibility as a 20-year-old young man. No, it should have been fucking dealt with before we moved in. That's kind of what the landlords are doing right now. They had me come in to do what I did so that they can throw out my stuff, right? Insult me as they do it, use my son to do it for them for free, and then find a way to get me evicted so they can come in with another bin and start loading up my shit or lock me out and throw me out in the streets and have Amari go into foster care, Andre running around like a chicken without his hat on, right? You know what I'm saying? And then having their new tenants move in with it all nice. A whole lot fucking nicer than what I got, that's for sure. So they can act like they're great landlords. Yeah.
Not even half the amount of time that it would take me in terms of days.
Well, yeah, because I was doing this shit by myself. Hold on a minute. All right.
So, but it's partly there. I didn't move all this wood by myself, so I'm not trying to take all the credit.
Okay. So my son in those days, and it's true, he was a little copacetic. He would help me out more than he ever did in terms of bringing in a few things. Maybe the girls carried or whatever, I don't know. He did help me build the frame around the initial greenhouse, but we didn't know that we were going to build a greenhouse. Instead, we were going to build a garden bed, and he did dig up some of the dirt to get that started, but it didn't make sense because the weeds kept coming back, and the raccoons were still running through it. So that's when I decided to cover it up, the ground, and build up and make a greenhouse so that the weeds had absolutely no chance of ever growing again. That's how problematic they were.
Okay, sure, my kids helped move, but when it came time to carry on with the mission so that we can all enjoy the backyard.
So, what am I saying? The kids helped to move the stuff in when we moved in, or did they help to bring in some of this as I was coming in from Home Depot, from their scrapyard, or whether I was coming in from Delta Spring cleanup? Because that clearly came from Home Depot, right? And a whole lot of other pellets, because I use pellets as a means to build around.
You know, I'm finding myself out here struggling. Well, at the same point, and the same time, you know, they're saying, well, you hoard things. When you hoard, just...
Yeah, you're hoarding. Because they had to pick on me before they'd help me.
Get rid of it. You know, it's easy to get rid of it.
That was to hold toys inside of it. Another Fisher-Price, Little Tyke, solid, really solid plastic that's made to be outside for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. You take off the lid and you would put toys inside of it that would keep it dry and clean. I just had no place to put it because I didn't have a proper fucking yard, people, to put it anywhere yet.
Yeah, well, it's...
And they can't say I didn't need it because I had a little fucking grandson that was going to grow up in that house. Or at least I thought he would. Before he was illegally apprehended to start derailing the family.
Easy to get rid of it, but when you need to replace it, did you forget? I don't have a lot of money.
It's something my landlord forgot. I don't have any money, and what little money I have, she's taking it away from me because she's making me pay for shit that I shouldn't have to pay for, because if she would have been responsible over the summer or last year or the year before that and had her son come by and fucking be an honorable man versus... Oh, he's just an excuse. You're delusional. You don't know what you're talking about. Who the fuck is Corey? Well, I don't know. Go take it up with your son and ask him why he's going around giving out fake names, perpetrating to be a nice guy when in fact he's not. If you had no intentions in helping me, why lie up at my face and tell me you're going to come back and fucking help me? Now you got broken down fences. Well, you can't blame me for that one. Fuck no. No, 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 no. And if they fix it, they'll say, well, that's all you get because we're not going to fix anything else because you don't pay enough rent. Well, they used to say the same damn shit when I fucking moved in, and there was no housing crises in terms of the housing corruption that was going on. Rent was rent was rent. There was no, let's kick them out and make $3,000 versus $1,500. No, they stuck with the $1,500 as they were plotting and scheming how to start jacking up the rent. So why? What was the excuse then not to fucking fix the porch or whatever? Why did I have to fight for the outlets to be changed when I first moved in? Why did I have to fucking deal with fucking leaky pipes from one pipe to the other pipe, like faucets and shit like that? Why did I have to fucking find a pipe that had literal fucking holes in it that was dripping down through the walls that ended up pooling in Tisha's room, to which is now a fucking mildewy room because of a pipe that fucking was purposely poked with something where it was leaking, and then one day months, years, I don't know how, I have to go into my videos, when I come across it, I'll let you know. Finally, I discovered it, and it had been leaking for years. And then when I asked to have the plumber come, it was nothing but like pulling fucking teeth, and he guilt tripped me the whole damn time as if it was my fault. And that was in the walls. They had to cut out the fucking, what is that called? Drywall to get to it, people. From Shimei's room. They put in a purposely, they put a pipe in purposely where you couldn't see the holes as it was leaking water from the tap every time you turned it on. And the only way you could freaking replace it was to take out the drywall to do it. And I had to plead with my landlord to fucking do it, as a repairman insulted me while he did it and tried to suggest I did it. Yeah, okay. And that was before the housing corruption. Now she just uses the housing corruption to say that I don't pay enough rent, so therefore she doesn't have to fix anything. But she stopped fixing fucking shit a long time ago. As a matter of fact, things weren't fixed when I moved in.
It's called, you know, save what you have and work with what you have and...
Well, not in this house. It's throw everything out. That's what it is. Throw everything out and give it to other people so they can benefit from it while you have nothing. Because you're going to get it through your fucking head. You're not going to have anything, Miss Chorney. Not if the Punjabis have it their way. And their partner groups that benefit with the kickbacks.
And so, you know, a little bit of...
That was a swimming pool that... could have made it into a sandbox. I think it even had a cover for it as well.
Elbow grease, a brush and some bleach. Be quiet!
That's that damn dog.
This dog is still up for adoption. Quiet!
Does that look like grass? There was no grass, people.
You know? Now, is there radiation
I can't stress
over there?
it enough.
Shut up! I gotta turn this off. I'll be right back.
All right. So there you go. That was the first video that I can determine at this point of what my yard looked like. At least as far back as September of 2011. Well, I was going in the community trying to build on community gardens for everybody to help the homeless people, right? Even went out of my way and did a park event in 2012, 2009. I went back to Gateway Place, did that with Riley, with the kids, with the playground restoration, follow-up, chocolate milk party. See here, when was this? 2000, October, wait a minute, yeah, October 24th of 2011, working up, where's my finger? Working up at the homeless shelter, trying to bring in some community programs to help solve the growing homeless problem. I was dressing up, learning how to be a public speaker, trying to be brave, put on a strong face, a brave face. You know what I'm saying? Stay true, right, to the cause for justice for everybody, including Punjabis. But they didn't need it because they're the ones that hold all the fucking wealth. Remember that now, okay? Except for maybe those poor ones. And we know what happens to poor people, don't we? Ex-Club Rant. All right, September 25th of 2011. We just looked at Fukushima radiation. Ex-Club Rant. See, here's another one, right? That shows the yard. Which one were we looking at? When did it kick in? This one, Life on the Fly. I think it was this one that we just looked at. Or maybe it was this one. September 19th of 2011. September 19th of 2011. September 23rd of 2011.
Hello, viewers. Just doing a little insert here in under the X Club. Okay, but we'll just touch base. So as you can see, I already started to wash a lot of...
So we're gonna go into the X Club, and I'm still washing shit outside that's sitting in that fucking mud. And grit and crud and God knows what. I'm washing, and as I'm washing, I'm putting it in the first stages of the shed that I built to protect my stuff because I had no place to put it.
of that stuff, so.
And I didn't realize how gritty the yard was because I never seen it when I rented the house, so how would I have known?
That's pretty much good. But here I want to talk about the ex-shop.
Well, ex-shop. I don't remember calling it a shop. I've never called it a shop, but anyway.
Okay, because as hard as I'm trying...
Do you hear the tarp? Do you hear the tarp? Welcome to my world. This is my porch. This is what it was like when I moved in, and it's been like that ever since. And every year like clockwork, my shit gets ruined. And didn't we not, the last time I was out there, did I not take things and just go like this with all the water running out, even though I tried to protect the water from destroying it? Yeah. Because I don't live outside. So therefore they weren't responsible to fix the fucking porch. Because they knew it was going to ruin my shit and I'd get frustrated and maybe move out so that, whatever. Or just whatever.
This just doesn't seem to be working out.
Yeah, whatever I tried to do to protect my stuff wasn't working out.
Right, if you can see, it's full of water in here.
Yeah, full of water in there. Because of that leaky fucking roof. That's been leaking ever since.
Full of water. Okay?
Clearly I sound sick, because I've been working out in the elements with all this shit.
And I'll tell you why it's full of water. Look at this. Look at this. This is bullshit. Total fucking bullshit.
So I guess in this situation I am mad. But why? Because I like to get mad? And I make myself get mad for no reason? Or because I deserve to be treated this way and I couldn't accept the fact that that's the way I deserve to be treated, so therefore I got mad because I couldn't accept that fact? Like my landlady wanted me to accept it, obviously, because she doesn't care if I'm mad, quote unquote, all the time. She thinks it's fucking funny.
Okay.
And she goes out of her way to make me even madder by stealing my stuff now, by telling my son to throw everything out so she can fucking blame him when I come back and say something to her about it. But she's basically evicted me from my yard, so if that's the case, don't ask me to fucking do anything for you in that yard. But she's gonna expect it. And if not from me, they put the onus on Marcane now. Yeah. And as soon as he can't meet their expectations, they're gonna come in and kick us out. And if we don't leave, they're gonna come in with their fucking bin and pull a Mrs. Gill and do it all over again. And then run off with the goods. Yeah.
This is bullshit, and I'll tell you why this is bullshit. Okay? It's not for me, for lack of trying. Okay? What?
Yeah, because I was trying in 2010. This is the second fucking year, okay? Or maybe I didn't, because I moved in December, right, of 2009. So we can't, we can include 2011 because this was going on in September. We can include 2010. I just didn't record it, people. This is the second year going into the game, okay? With this porch.
What this is this negligence on a landlord's part. Okay?
Could I afford to move? No.
I pay a lot of money for this house, which is a very old house. Okay? Last year, as you can see, on my stairs, I have a lot of water when it...
Yeah, because it leaks at that seam. And it's been doing that ever since I moved in. And then a couple of years ago, my son and I, we took these metal things that were used to cover wood on the little house. He folded them into a V, and then I have chain. He went up there, managed to get up there, screw in, so that the chain would hold this metal thing that we folded into a V, and we ran it that one side over there, and then we took another one and made it so that when the water was dripping, it would just go like that out over the edge. Mickey Mouse shit with the tape. The gray fucking Mickey Mouse. And it was okay for a couple of years, but over time, you know how it goes, right? And it needs to be done again. And he won't do it. I've asked him, but he's always busy. And he's mad at me because he's mad at the way the world is going. And before he'd fucking take it out on somebody else, he'll take it out on me and say it's my fault that we are in this situation because I wasn't smart enough to buy a house. So that we wouldn't have these problems. Even though I never had the right to buy a house because I was considered poor. And poor people can't buy houses. We just pay for other people's mortgages and do their fucking dirty work for them. And then we get evicted after we're not needed no more.
It rains, it drips. Okay? It's pretty straightforward. There's a seam here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the seam. It's through the hole from one end to the other end. And well, like I said, what my son and I did, it needs to be redone. And it needs to be extended, assuming that my son didn't throw out those metal fucking sheets, because I still have a couple left in the yard. If he fucking threw them out, I'm hooped. I'm fucking hooped. And I couldn't ask him last year because he was too busy raging around because of whatever was going on downstairs. Right? With the landlord putting the bean in his bonnet to fucking start cleaning up the yard. So yeah, he took it in his bonnet, grabbed this, pile, right? And then he got busy, and then she came along and used it against him. Because she never fucking followed up with him in a professional manner. Saying, oh, I can see you've got this here, it's been here for a while. You know, what do you think we can do? Do you think maybe I should bring a bin? Maybe by that time he would say, yeah, but no, you know what? That all could have been avoided if fucking fake Corey would have shown up. And done what he said he would have done with the fence, and then whatever was left over for vinyl would have been chucked out with the rest of the fucking junk. And if we had city, what is that called? Spring cleanup, it all would have been done for sure. Every year like clockwork. But that's not what the city wants. They like their slave labor that they can use and abuse and then toss out into their streets after they rob them of their belongings on property that they pay to rent. Because obviously I have no rights here. Because I'm a slave.
Okay. And you gotta put
How do you write that down in a lawsuit?
silicone caulking in between the seam and...
So now I'm off buying fucking silicone trying to caulk their shit to prevent water from leaking in. But you can't fucking caulk that shit because it comes from the roof part. You have to do whatever needs to be done at the fucking top of the roof. You gotta go on the roof and stand there, and when they're putting on their shingles, that's when they do what needs to be done so that shit doesn't happen. But they purposely went out of their way, did a lousy job, knowing that it would leak because they want to make you miserable.
that. So
they want the shit to get ruined so that you got something to, lose and cry on over about, or they've got something to blame you for.
I asked my landlord to, Hold on.
Stupid dog.
Just shut!
Dog was stressing me out, barking all the time.
Just shut up! Be quiet! I don't want to hear no fucking noise!
That dog didn't listen for nothing.
Shut!
Oh no, his name was Dr. Bath. My vet, the Punjabi, his name was Dr. Bath. I remember now. He took Sadie. He came to my house and picked her up for me because she was just stressing me out way too much. As if I didn't have enough shit stressing me out. Okay? So, take away the riffraff, and then just imagine mud, grit, fucking water drainage problems with shit pooling up. We're talking like a mini pond. Raccoon shit, weeds, morning glory, the whole 9 yards. What would you do? Now I'm bringing in freaking plywood. Go figure. Costing more money. What was that? I don't know what that is. I was trying anything and everything. Maybe I was starting to work on the shed. Who knows? But that's a nice piece of plywood. Obviously, I probably paid for that one.
Okay, I'm try this again. I'm pretty angry. Because
I guess Mrs. Gill was right. I am angry. A lot.
I'm trying so hard
I'm
to
trying
do
so
something
hard.
positive in my community.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, there's
Honestly,
people out there that just
you know, my voice doesn't sound very well in this, you know? Like, seriously, I wouldn't
don't give a shit.
I wouldn't be surprised. What is this? Why won't this go away? Because this does not belong here.
Okay.
Do you see what's going on here? Why do we got two pictures going on in here? That's not the way I put it together. I don't think so. I didn't have those kind of computer skills. No way. And my voice sounds really, really scratchy. I wouldn't be surprised if this video wasn't edited by YouTube fucking staff.
And I don't get it.
I go, yeah. Oh, wait. Maybe I did do that. This is a park event. I think this is a park event that I did. Because I'm talking about trying to do positive things in the community. So maybe I did know how to do a little bit of editing. And I put in pictures of the park event. Right?
Because when you're paying $15.50,
What are we looking at there? Can't really see. What is this? So in 2011, I was paying $15.50 because that's what they rented it at. Take the house now, stay as long as you want, and we'll never raise the rent. And I came in at $15.50, which was towards the lower end of the rental market. But it wasn't the poorest of the poor either, though, right? It wasn't, right?
and then by the time you do your gas and your hydro,
I wish I could see better, but I think this is like when I was doing the little community garden at Gateway Place with the kids.
and your telephone, and one, internet line, and you're pushing anywhere from $19.50 to $22.50 a month, every freaking month. And then when you ask for a simple repair,
Okay, you asked for a simple repair, right? You've been living there for a while now, right?
okay, last year I had to deal with water dripping down my stairs, people running in and out bringing mud at the bottom of their stairs.
Yeah, because it had no inside stairs. I didn't know that, though. I didn't realize that until after I moved in, because they rushed me through the back door so fast it didn't even dawn on me that we were going outside to get to the basement.
At bottom of their feet. Like, I don't get it. So this year I said, please, please, I begged.
Please, please, I begged in 2011 to my landlord. I'm begging. Please, please.
Please, please help me. Help me to, make it so that this roof doesn't leak.
Help me to make it so that this roof doesn't fucking leak.
Because I'm cleaning. I'm all the time having to clean.
I'm always having to clean dirt and grit and everything else. What are we looking at there? Little birds. That little bird. That's a little bird. Doesn't look like a bird, though. Look at his face. That's a weird looking bird. That doesn't even look like a bird, man. Does that look like a bird to you? What kind of bird is that?
The water
Oh, there.
ruins everything, okay? Oh, well, so anyway.
I can't even feed the birds anymore, people, because I can't open my back door safely. Never mind close the bloody thing. I can't feed the hummingbirds, and I can't feed the birds, because it's too difficult to open and close my back sliding door on a regular basis. And when I do get out there and start doing something, I have to take gray tape and fucking tape it up so that the window doesn't fall out of the frame. And this is just normal glass that when it cracks, it shreds. It comes out in big shards. It's not a plexiglass, so it doesn't come into those. It comes in big shards that could slice you open in a second if it gets you just at the right moment. Oh yeah, yeah. And don't say I didn't ask her to help fix it, because I have.
There's a problem within the Asian community, South Asian, East.
So I guess I am complaining, because by this point I'm probably getting fed up. Well, I am. So maybe my landlord wasn't lying. I'm always mad when it comes to this situation regarding the house.
East Indian from India, because what happens is they come over into Canada, and you know, back in the day when they first were coming on.
Yeah, that's the kids at Gateway Place. I think so. My eyes can't see very well.
Yes, there was racism. Yes, they had to stay out.
I don't know if this is at the park event or if it's at Gateway Place when we planted a little community garden in the courtyard. Huh. If you look, you can see the buildings across the street.
The water. Yes, they were trying to be sent back to India, but at the end of the day, they moved into Canada and they started to accumulate mass wealth. And in those days, they got a great, you know, they got good benefits after they broke the barrier of racism and institutional racism and all this other stuff that was going on within their culture and whatnot. You know, at the end of the day, when it came down to taxes and stuff
and
like
now we've got young Punjabi men 2 doors down knocking on my door, not even 6-7 months ago or 8 months ago or whatever the hell it was, asking for water. I'm saying no, because I don't appreciate you gonna kicking out all these people, and you need to stop and think. I'm sure one of the other neighbors will help you, but I can't, right? You know what I'm saying? And then he sits up there and completely insults me, right? Says I'm trash because I don't work, and you know, blah blah blah. And then when I go and I follow him to say, hey buddy, like, you know, you need to like stop and think about what you're saying here, like blah blah blah. And then he says, well, you deserve to be treated like trash because you have to pay for the sins of your forefathers. That's basically what he said to me. I had to pay as a white woman for the sins of my forefathers as to what they did to his people 100 years when they were out on the boat and weren't allowed to come into Canada until the federal government made so. And then they had to face the racism. So he's walking around with a 100-year-old fucking grudge that he learned from his fucking parents, okay, and grandparents. And that's why they are the way they are, because they walk with grudges and they justify their abuse against people that are not like them. Yeah. And then still have the audacity to call me racist.
that because they were, you know, an immigrant, you know, the federal government gave...
Because I might say something about the way they behave based on their actions. Not what they say, but what they do.
Them taxes on their houses and, you know, tax breaks and, you know, the Canadian didn't get
okay, well, this is not what I want to listen to.
Incentives to buy.
What I want is, like, I just wanted to show you the porch. I mean, that was just one example.
Tarps it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so there was something, I wanted her to help fix the porch. She didn't want to. So we're back at the fire pit with the river rocks in it. Okay, what's this? Maybe something getting ruined.
I took it out.
Yeah, something getting ruined with the fucking porch in the rain. What's new? Right? What are we looking at here? A bunch of weeds? What is that? Yeah, do you see those weeds? Do you see those fucking weeds?
Small little bush. This side I still have to do. Nobody pays me to do that.
Yeah, cutting back the blackberries. Look at that. There's my backyard grass, people. That's why I built the greenhouse. That shit was impossible to control. I couldn't keep the raccoons out from shitting in it.
Right? You know, I have to do that. I can't afford to freaking move. So I'm trying to make it the best that I can for my family. And while I'm doing that, you know, I'm trying to protect what little belongings
I'm trying to protect what little belongings I have, because there was no storage. There is now on the property, though.
I have left. In this cupboard here, everything got soaking wet.
In this cupboard here, everything got soaking wet. So this is where I go and I write in my book a dollar value on what's there in terms of what I've lost since living here due to negligence on the landlord's part. Because technically, I didn't live in the yard. So therefore, they didn't need to do anything in it, including fixing the porch. Although I did live in the yard, though, because I have video proof that I was out there all the time. I told you before, I have lived more in the yard than I have inside this house.
So I took it out and I let it dry, you know, and only half of it went back.
So all books got ruined.
Back in, and as you can see,
Because I didn't know how to protect it with tarps even. Because the water, you know how water is.
I have a little puppet thing here, but
Yeah, a little puppet house, right? That got ruined.
this is going to be ruined pretty soon. You know, this is bullshit. You know, a simple job. Can't even go up there, put freaking caulking up there.
So I got mad whoever went up there and did that shit. But it wouldn't have worked anyway. You see, that's the thing. So it wouldn't have mattered if they put caulking up there or not. As a matter of fact, I don't even think they could have, because you don't do that until you do that first before you,
You know, make it nice with a good
before
attitude.
you
You know-
put on your shingles for the roof. You can't fix it after the shingles are on. You have to fix it before the shingles are on.
You know, can't have a good attitude. No wonder why my nonprofit in Canada, British Columbia, doesn't pick up. There's something like 350,000 East Indians where I live, and I don't see one standing up to the plate. Not one. Instead, what I see is just a bunch of people trying to make it freaking hard for me. That's all it is. They make it hard for me. What? You don't like Malcolm X? Is that it? You don't like...
Well, landlords were making it hard for me. So there was strife.
black people? Like, what is the problem? It's in my constitution. You know, we're reaching out to, you know, to the continent of Africa. Did I forget to mention the continent of India? Well, at the end of the...
Yeah, why was my landlord not doing what landlords are supposed to do by repairing things that need to be repaired? Why did I have to beg and plead and say that in a video that I was actually begging and pleading to have something repaired? It wasn't like I wasn't paying my rent. I was.
Today, we all came from one...
It wasn't like I wasn't getting out in the yard and doing their work for them. I was. And they gave me no resources, no manpower, no tools to do it. I had to do that for myself. Kind of like being on that mountain with my landlord lording over me, and I'm climbing up that mountain, and she doesn't want to help me. She just wants to stand there and look at me and tell me that I have to do it for myself or get the fuck out of here, and if you fall, oh well. Yeah. And that's basically been like that when it comes to this yard. And now she's robbing me and using the city as an excuse to throw out my shit or have other people rummage through it and take home what they want after the bin's been dropped off from wherever it came from.
continent, and it started in Africa.
As your son is threatening me that if I don't keep up with this fucking yard, or at least my son now, they're gonna kick us out. And you know, once the weeds start fucking growing, you know, he's gonna be upset because it's gonna be too fucking weedy and not enough fucking grass, and that will be his excuse to kick us out. so that they can get their fucking UN soldiers in here or their immigrant families in here to pay $4,800 fucking dollars until they tear down this joint. If they haven't made their $3 million already by selling this house. Either or, they come out rich, as they tell you they're not rich. Well, how do you think they got rich? Being nice? Yeah, okay.
So get used to it. So yeah, 20 million children in
Well, we already know they don't care about 20 million children in India any more than they care about the children in fucking Canada, okay? Don't be surprised. So yeah, there's that blackberry bush growing over the fence. That was something else I had to deal with all by myself every year. Here's all those weeds. You can see they're quite large. Seriously. Right? You can see how big they are. Right? And they'd get big. Okay? And they expected us just to mow that down with a lawnmower, as if a fucking lawnmower could mow it. And it was full of raccoon shit. The front was full of cat shit because of the sand, and that was full of fucking raccoon shit because they like to run through there and fucking shit in there, okay? That was their latrine.
Pull out all the freaking morning glory that it's not even your responsibility,
So, of course, good old famous morning glory.
you know?
50 bags in those days. Big fucking city recycle yard waste bags. 50 of them by the end of the summer. Oh yeah, easy.
Clean up the yard because you're supposed to be a superhuman, you know, and throw all this stuff out in the garbage, even though it might mean something to somebody someday, you know, including me.
So maybe she was complaining about it back then, for all I know, because, you know, I'm talking about having it being thrown out. Maybe my kids, yeah, a little bit, just because, whatever. I don't know. I don't specifically remember her telling me to throw it out, but you know what? She probably did, people. But she still expected me to do yard work. Just by the very fact that she never offered any help, and neither did her family. In any kind of capacity.
With my nonprofit, you know, I might need a bucket, might go to the beach or something, you know, pick up some radiated rocks.
No, I ended up using a whole lot of fucking buckets and bins to deal with the yard. I'd go out looking for buckets and bins just so I wouldn't have to pay for it, so I had the tools to work in the fucking yard and transport grit, mud, weeds, rocks, whatever, sand, didn't matter. Fucking raccoon shit, it didn't fucking matter. I needed buckets and bins to move that shit around so that I could build over it and try and save myself stress.
Or something.
Thinking that I would be ahead of the game because I could do it, little did I know it was impossible, and I wasted my life out there. I wasted my life out there, people.
Who knows? You know, for lack of effort.
For lack of effort, now we're back to the leaky roof.
You know, where's my effort taking
The leaky porch.
me? Really? Where's my effort taking me? The guy doesn't want to work. Fire the guy. Oh, but no, he's a family member.
So she had a family member come by and do something, and clearly he didn't want to work, right? Obviously.
Oh, you know, just gotta keep them running on a string, right? Keep the tenant running on the string. Who cares if the tenant gets frustrated? Who cares if the tenant's trying to do something positive? Who cares?
So she sends her family member over to do something which he didn't do, right? And then she said, live with it.
Who cares if the tenant's house gets dirty? Who cares if the pipes are leaking?
Yeah, look, see? Still leaking. Still fucking leaking, and this is 2011. A whole year went by, right? I had to wait. Because they fixed the ones on the inside first, but they didn't fix the ones on the outside. I had to wait for a long time before I could plead with her to fix the ones on the outside. Yeah.
All over the place. This pipe is leaking. The one underneath my kitchen sink is...
Oh, the one underneath my kitchen sink is leaking. Didn't I just go through that like a year ago, before Edgar came and replaced whatever was going on underneath that fucking sink, and I lived with it leaking underneath there for like 2.5 fucking years? With my shit that was underneath the sink outside on the fucking porch getting rained on throughout the elements of 2 years sitting out there waiting for underneath the sink to get fixed? As she's telling me, you don't like it, you can move. If you want it fixed, you fix it. That's what I mean.
Is leaking. The one underneath the downstairs kitchen sink is leaking.
Wow, they're all leaking. And they had been leaking. So that's not even something she fixed when I first moved in. She did fix the outlets, though, within a timely manner, after I discovered that they were all sparking. But the basement one had to be done twice, because the first time the guy went down there, he didn't do a damn thing. And then when I found out that they were still sparking, she had to have somebody else come and do it again. But obviously the pipes didn't get fixed for well over a freaking year while I lived there. So this is how we lived.
I had water leaking into my son's room. I got water leaking over here. I see it dripping here. Like, what the hell is this? This is what I'm paying $2,200 a month for?
That's including hydro, gas, and I guess cable, right? Right? Including rent. The rent was only $1,550. But by the time you add in everything else, yeah.
Going crazy, going bankrupt.
Now she's got me at $2,250 for rent and paying all these fees to dispose of my belongings that are basically being robbed from me, as she uses my son as slave labor to load it up for her to make it easy. Yep.
Up for what? Somebody to tear down this old broken down house and build some monster home and bring in a bunch of illegal suites? Because we know that's what's going to happen.
So who cares? She doesn't care about that. I don't think so.
Because if I don't like it, what you tell me is I can move.
So she was doing that in 2011. I didn't realize that until now. I forgot. Because I don't hold grudges. I don't. Never mind 100-year-old grudges, and then expect people that had nothing to do with what happened 100 years ago pay for the sins of their fathers.
You know, you don't like the house, just move. Well, you know, I wish
It was just an excuse not to fix anything, people, because they had been neglecting it since 1992.